Have you ever found yourself in a situation where it seemed like all odds were against you? Moments where you're certain there's no way out, yet somehow fate steps in and saves the day. Terrifying and life-threatening experiences where a split second decides everything. Yet somehow these people defied the impossible and lived to tell the tale. Could luck be that powerful, or were they truly chosen by fate? Stick around, because you're about to hear stories that will leave you wondering how these individuals managed to survive. Some people encounter dangerous situations and survive through sheer will or skill, but others, well, they have luck on their side. Luck that carried them through situations where survival seemed impossible. From surviving an avalanche to falling into a vat of chocolate, these aren't just tales of bravery, they're pure, unfiltered luck. Let's take a look at 7 of the luckiest people who survived the impossible. Our first story takes us to the icy French Alps in 2022, where an experienced skier faced an absolute nightmare. As he glided effortlessly down the slopes, the ground beneath him suddenly crumbled, and he plummeted nearly 49 feet into a dark, icy crevasse. He was falling fast, and in a split second he managed to wedge his skis into the ice, halting his terrifying descent on a precarious ledge. It was a heart-stopping moment, hanging above an endless abyss, knowing one wrong move could send him tumbling into oblivion. But luck was on his side. His fellow skiers, realizing the severity of the situation, quickly assembled a rescue team. What followed was a grueling, hours-long battle against the elements, as they carefully worked to pull him out using a rope and pulley. The terrifying part? That year, 2022, saw an alarming increase in crevasse accidents due to unusually warm temperatures, which caused the ice to weaken. Reports show that crevasse falls more than doubled, from 38 in a typical year to a shocking 70. 6 people didn't survive these deadly falls, making this skier's escape from the icy depths not just remarkable, but borderline miraculous. Now, we've all had rough commutes, but for one woman in Buenos Aires, her daily journey nearly became her last. While waiting for a train in April 2022, she suddenly felt dizzy and fell forward, right into the path of an oncoming train. Onlookers were horrified as she disappeared under the speeding train. It seemed like the end, but then the unthinkable happened. She was alive. By some miracle, she had fallen into a narrow gap between the train and the platform, pressed just close enough to survive the metal behemoth roaring above her. Her brush with death left the crowd speechless, and within days, she was back on her feet, with doctors attributing her fainting spell to a freak drop in blood pressure. It's hard to imagine being just inches from certain death, but luck was definitely on her side that day. Michel Pierre never expected his ordinary trip to the bathroom would nearly cost him his life. It was a regular day in 2013 when the 58-year-old New Yorker finished up and reached for the toilet handle, but instead of the usual flush, an explosion tore through the room. The toilet erupted like a bomb, sending shards of porcelain flying in every direction. Michel was knocked unconscious, thrown against the wall as the pieces rained down like deadly shrapnel. When he finally came to, he was lying in a pool of water and debris, dazed and injured. His bathroom looked like a war zone. Shocked but grateful to be alive, he called for help and was rushed to the hospital, where he received 30 stitches. The cause? A buildup of pressure in the pipes due to plumbing work gone wrong. The flush had triggered an unexpected explosion, wrecking not just Michel's bathroom, but others in the building too. What should have been a harmless moment turned into a nightmarish brush with death. But against all odds, Michel walked away from it. Not everyone can say their toilet tried to take them out. Cutting down trees isn't usually seen as a high-risk job, but Canadian tree feller Jeremy Cadot might disagree. In 2017, while cutting down a particularly large tree, he noticed a strange cracking sound. What he didn't know was that the tree's base had rotted, causing it to split unpredictably, a phenomenon known as a barber chair. This meant the tree could have toppled and crushed him at any second. By sheer luck, Jeremy jumped in the right direction just in time. That day, fate saved him from becoming another worksite statistic. According to tree-felling safety experts, incidents like these are rare but deadly, making his escape all the more fortunate. Our next story feels straight out of Willy Wonka's factory, but trust me, there was no golden ticket involved here. When Patricia Borges arrived at her shift that day, it seemed like just another routine at the chocolate factory. But when she noticed the unmistakable smell of gas in the air, a shiver of unease crept in. She alerted her supervisor, expecting swift action. Instead, her concerns were brushed aside. Someone higher up would handle it, they said. Minutes ticked by, and then the world erupted. A deafening explosion tore through the building, flames bursting from every direction. Patricia, engulfed by the blast, was thrown across the room, her body ablaze. Desperate to escape the fire, she ran until the ground beneath her gave way. In an instant, she plummeted into a vat of molten chocolate below. The searing liquid smothered the flames, saving her from being burned alive. But it was no relief. Trapped waist deep with broken feet and no way to climb out, Patricia's situation was dire. As smoke filled the air and the fire raged on, she could hear the firefighters above, but they couldn't see or hear her. Hours passed, her body weakening, hope fading, until water from their hoses filled the vat, lifting her just high enough to crawl out. Rescuers finally found her, but the ordeal had left her shaken to her core. Power tools and DIY projects are already risky enough, but for one man using an angle grinder, a freak accident almost turned deadly. The blade of the grinder broke mid-use, flying straight toward his head. Miraculously, it lodged itself in his hat, stopping just millimeters from piercing his skull. It sounds impossible, but this bizarre occurrence saved his life. Skeptics have questioned whether it was a stroke of luck or if the incident was staged for social media clout. Either way, the man narrowly escaped what could have been a fatal accident. Finally, we come to one of the most unbelievable survival stories. The brain is a fortress of complexity and resilience, but sometimes even it faces unthinkable threats. In 2016, a 12-year-old girl named Nita from India discovered just how terrifyingly vulnerable this vital organ can be. For 2 long years, she suffered from mysterious seizures and weakness, but then the unthinkable happened. Paralysis seized half her body, leaving her helpless. Rushed to the hospital, Nita's parents anxiously awaited answers. The MRI scan revealed a nightmare. A massive cyst, caused by a tapeworm larva, had been silently growing in her brain for nearly a decade. The sheer size of it was shocking. It weighed over half a pound, pressing dangerously close to her brain. How it hadn't ruptured and ended her life was beyond comprehension. Every second it remained intact was nothing short of a miracle, but there was no more time to gamble. Surgeons were faced with the delicate task of removing the cyst without causing further damage. In an astonishing 2.5-hour surgery, they succeeded. 2 weeks later, Nita's paralysis vanished, and her seizures became a distant memory. Against all odds, this young girl had escaped death and regained her life, a victory against one of nature's most horrifying parasites. Surviving the impossible is more than just a stroke of luck. It's a mix of timing, quick thinking, and sometimes fate intervening. Whether it's narrowly avoiding death on the slopes, surviving a bathroom explosion, or falling into chocolate, these stories remind us that life can take some truly wild turns. But in each of these cases, luck played the leading role, allowing these individuals to escape with their lives. So, what do you think? Do these people owe their survival to pure luck, or was something more at play? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and let us know if you've heard of any other wild stories of survival. And don't forget to check out our next video, where we explore even more mind-boggling and unusual stories. Until next time, stay safe and stay curious.